Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us on another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour right here on CyberWarriorStudios. We coming at you live, and with me once again, as always, my friend, my partner in crime, Eric Villardo. Eric, let them know how's it going, man. What you got going on?
I am doing well. Let's be real. We're gonna bring the energy today just
Yes.
to, kind of do a timeline cleanse here. But I just want to give a shout out to all our friends and family that are being affected by the things
Absolutely.
in Ukraine. So with that, let's go ahead and have a good security happy hour to do a good timeline cleanse here and get ready for everything that's coming up. So thank you for
Definitely.
having us. And we have a great show tonight for you lined up with some excellent people here.
Yep,
So go
definitely.
ahead, Cyber Warrior, introduce our guests.
Yeah, so again, timeline cleanse. We got to bring the energy. We got to bring the fun. So, as always, like I said, we got Eric, but tonight joining us, we've got Stephanie Lewis, founder
Woo!
of SecCon 202, which is an organization in DC. I'm going to let her talk about that a little bit later on. But thank you for joining us, Stephanie. Also with us tonight is Eric Thomas,
The
who,
ET.
the ET, funny enough, who took over doing something from a buddy of mine,
I
one of my
stole his
fellow
job.
veterans. He just jacked his job. Just said, you know what? It's mine now. No. But so he actually took over doing something that I'll be happy to let him discuss because it's actually part of the conversation tonight, which is training on or learning on a budget as well as conferences in both organizations. So the one that ET is working with and SecCon 202 both deal in conferences and meetups and things like that, as well as
Right.
learning and workshops. So if you're interested on how to learn on a budget when you ain't got the cash, this is where you want to be. So to
And
kick, go ahead.
you've got the ET and the EB tonight.
Hey, Eric gang, let's go. Let's go.
Do it. Hold
So
on,
kick us
because
off.
of that, we're gonna change this a little bit. There you
There we
go.
go. There we go.
Okay, all
Little
right,
squad
I like
versus
it. I
squad.
like
Little
it.
squad versus squad going on. I like it. I like it.
So to kick us off tonight, though, I do want to have Stephanie introduce herself. Let us know about SecCon 202, and let's start it with conferences, right? Because you are the founder of SecCon 202, you're dealing in a lot of conferences and trying to get into more and doing things with workshops. Let us know what's going on and what you guys got going on this year.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Stephanie, and just a little bit about Secon 202. It basically started about what is it, 3 years ago now? At least that long ago. But I came back from DEF CON. I'm like, we need to do something more here in the DC area, and I got a lot of encouragement to do it, and I focused on Southeast area, because that's where we have there's African Americans everywhere, but I just felt like Southeast was just a place to really host things and bring more of a cyber focus to that area. So we were meeting in libraries and things like that. I had a few speakers, and not speakers, but we put on workshops. So we go over different tools, cyber tools, or sometimes it's just like the thought process that you need to have in cybersecurity. So I try to keep it hands-on so that every time we have a workshop, you'll leave with something. You know what I'm saying? So I was not good at like streaming at the time or video or none of that. And I wish I was, but that's okay because I'm planning on knocking it out the park this year. But it's just good just to have that camaraderie and be all together. And just, it's okay if you don't know something, because by the time you leave, you're going to have a new tool set or, gain a lot of knowledge you can apply it to your work. But I also want you guys to be able to apply it, or for people to be able to apply it to their own side projects. You know what I'm saying? So I try to have, if somebody does a workshop, make it so that people can leave with something and keep working on it for another week or two, keep it up and running so they can get the practice in. Because a lot of times when you learn in a school environment, it's okay, we learn, you take home the homework or whatever. You know what I mean? It's not like they keep the simulation going longer so that you have your own time to really dig in and go in a lot deeper. So, so I got that. And we are looking also to sponsor some of the local conferences just as a way of when newbies come in. I didn't know what conferences were going on. I didn't know about ShmooCon and B-Sides Charms or all the whole B-Sides network. I didn't know that, or some of the other DEF CON groups. And so it helps to have that in the beginning, because then you don't have like that imposter syndrome, because everybody has a starting point. You know what I mean? We didn't come out the womb knowing Python. So
What? You did it? Hold on, Stephanie. You're supposed to know Python coming out the womb. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have a starting point, and that, I think that's also what makes the group is unique, because we do focus on workshop based, and also I'm changing the gear to focus also on like coding. So all the examples, because I think part of being like a good cyber security person is that you do know how to code. Let's add that back into it. And so we're gonna be focusing on Python in particular and a little bit of Java, so that people can develop both skills. And so that's our focus. And so I'm very excited about that, because I just think it would be a good, like I said, a good entry point. Because I know I went to to two conferences, and they changed my whole direction and what I believe was out there. You know what I mean? And I have everything to thank, especially the B-Sides network, B-Sides Nova. They put on a conference, and I was there, and I met somebody that was talking about more intel and just everything, and I was like, wow, okay, I really want to be over here in cybersecurity, not the journey that I was going on. So it's just good. It's good just to have a network of people just to encourage you, you know what I mean, and people that you can bounce things off of, like Ty, for example. Like, I think of him as like a big brother, because he was the first person when I moved down to DC, was so welcoming to me, and just really kind of guiding me early on. And from him, I met people like Charles and BSD Bandit and some other people, and they've just really just taken me under their wing and helped me to grow. And now I want to do that for somebody else. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to get everything connected and really pay that forward, because I know how invaluable that was to us. So we do finally have swag. I'm just going to show you real quick. Dun, 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 the first round of t-shirts.
Nice.
Chocolate
Nice. I like it.
So this is, I'm actually wearing it, but you can't quite see. But yeah, so we got this and some more, stickers and the whole gamut. So
I need stickers. Where's my stickers?
I need a swag bag. I need the entire swag bag.
Swag. We need
Right,
Yeah,
look,
so-
when I get some money, everybody's getting swag. I'm gonna just, before I can't order from them no more. I'm gonna try to get some swag for people, because it's coming soon. I can't.
So I got
I
a
won't be able to
got-
order for my suppliers.
Shut up on the swag. All right, so Stephanie, where are you guys still doing the meetups, and how do people find out about where to see the meetups and where you guys are meeting and stuff like that?
So I'm trying to be faithful and really meet in the Southeast area. It has been kind of hard, and coming in after this pandemic, but we're going to go back to the libraries. I think that's just the best way just to keep things. It's right off some of them, like Southeast Library, Anacostia Library. They're close to the metro.
Okay.
So, it's metro accessible for people. I'm really trying to reach out now to the college kids, college age group, and even like some seniors in high school as well this year, just to get them started early. And, because, in college, they teach you the theory, they teach you, all that other stuff, but you really had to go to community college to sit down and dig into the code. And so I just hope to provide that without them having to go to another institution and pay a ton of money, that whole bit. So that's just that's where we're at. We do stream on Twitch. We do that. But right now I'm just kind of focusing on, let's just come back together. Let's be in person. And, I like that. I enjoy that,
All right. Do you a little bit over in Fort Washington? You've got the Cyber Reverend. Are you familiar with him? He's doing a lot of stuff up there in Fort Washington area, Maryland, and the Maryland side of the house. I'm gonna get you guys connected, because he's doing a lot of good labs and stuff, and he was on our show a couple weeks ago too.
I saw him a couple weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of friends down in the DC area that I'll connect you with over there.
Yeah,
Okay?
and I have some ways to get in touch with high schools. I was actually at my son's high school this past year, well, at the end of last year. So if you're trying to get into like high schools and stuff like that, any high school with a cybersecurity program or a comp sci program, could use people coming in, because even when I went, I was at my son's high school, the high school he's going to be going into. I was there yesterday, and
What
she
he's
told
not
me,
saying is they kicked him out of the high school anyway.
"Shut
So,
up! They did not kick me out. I gracefully
Oh, is that?
left, and
I
they
mean,
just
you were at a.
grabbed me by my shirt and threw me. It's all it is.
Did you
You
think it
have
was
to
a high
guess.
school beer thing? Did you think it was a high school beer thing?
I did. You know, I took like a 12 pack and went and talked to the student. And they didn't like it. No,
This guy shows up with a damn cooler with a 6-pack in it. Is this a parent teacher conference?
So Cartman Toll asked if there's a place for donating to SecCon and or to buy swag online for you guys.
Right. Right now the swag's kind of like in person, just because it like just for me that's a lot easier. But I will be providing later on this weekend, maybe early next week, a way that people can donate. I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, get that to me. We'll put it in the description once you get it to me. So anybody wants it comes, we will. Other than that, once you do get those links, though, make sure you put them on Twitter. Tag me, Eric. Hell, tag everybody. I do it. Everybody else does it. Dude, I can't tell you how many times on LinkedIn I get tagged in like things, and I'm like, I'm not even mentioned. Oh, it's for visibility. Okay, we're good. So
Yeah.
feel free to do it. Don't ever hesitate.
Like he's a big shot or something.
And you get tagged too, Eric. So be quiet. But yeah,
I'm Cyber Warrior.
El Carmen Colo. Yeah. So as soon as that information is provided, I'll put it out. She'll put it out, so you'll be able to get what you can. But I would definitely, like I said, reach out if you want to learn how to, or just kind of figure out some of the ways you can get into the high schools. I'll give you some advice there. For colleges, that's kind of hit or miss.
Nice.
Some colleges are like, yeah, let's do it, and then never get back to you. Some are like, send you one email, like, can you show up tomorrow? It's very, very hit or miss with the colleges. Hey, Daniel, you know what? So, but hey, we'll come back to you, Stephanie. Let's go over to Eric, man. Eric, you are here because of what Stephanie's doing, which is, you know, all these conferences and providing all these workshops, which with the meetups and workshops, they're free generally. So it's, you know, one of those things where you go there, you meet people and you learn. And your biggest topic that you wanted to talk about was learning on a budget, which tell us again who that company is that you do training for right now.
Absolutely. So great company by the name of Cover 6 Solutions. So a little bit about Cover 6 Solutions, founded by the brilliant Tyrone Wilson, who is famous for cybersecurity and most recently other things, but we won't mention those. But the company was founded in 2013. It's a veteran and military-owned company. We are many things, one of which is a training company, but we're also information security services provider, and we host a meetup. And as a matter of fact, we have one of DC's largest meetups. You know, I want to boast a little bit right now. Right now, we're sitting at over 8,600 members in the cybersecurity professionals meetup. So, and I cannot take credit for any of that. That was the mastermind, Tyrone Wilson, who saw fit to, you know, put me in charge of the education program. And I volunteered to create content and volunteered to, like, as a guest instructor for so long for what he was doing, mostly because of exactly what we're talking about. And, you know, I'll get into it a little bit later. Oh, wait, Jermaine got it. So yes, the name is actually an homage to the military. It's actually a military tribute. And yes, we got your 6, we got your back. So yeah, basically, you know, our workshop is sort of the thing you take after you get the sort of academia of it, the fundamentals of it, right? So the curriculum is designed by SOC analysts. The class is taught by me, a lead SOC analyst. So we are people who are working. So one of the things that makes our course, you know, a little bit different from the things that you're going to see is we're not building labs that are intended for you to find stuff, right? We're working our jobs and we're pulling stuff that we actually see, and we're saying, hey, this would be nice. I want my students to see this. So we want our students to leave with the confidence and be ready to add value to a SOC as soon as they get there. So we're not designing, and there's nothing wrong with labs. I mean, they're a way for all of us to learn, but we are where the rubber meets the road. We're pulling in real IOCs, we're pulling in real threat intel, which is also what makes the experience so unique. When you take one of our classes, you're gonna, there have been several workshops where I pull IOCs I found that day. Right, we're working with stuff, so you could take the class twice and it's going to be unique. You won't see the same phishing examples, you won't see the same encoding examples, you won't see the same anything, because we're pulling real world, not even real world scenarios, we're pulling real world adversarial tactics. So it's one of the things that make the course unique, and our whole thing is making this type of training accessible and giving people something that's not so academic, because we all know, you go get the certifications, you do some of the sort of academia stuff, and then you go work in a SOC and you don't even know where to start looking, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even know where to start. So, in our course, we're going to say, all right, yeah, you heard of lateral movement, but do you know how to detect it using nothing but Windows event logs? Yeah, you heard of persistence mechanisms, but can you find them? And so you're going to leave our course in 4 weeks, and it's hard. It's hard. If any of my students are here, they can tell you. I mean, we're on for 3 hours straight. It's hard. It's a lot of work. But it's again, I didn't even talk about that benefit. It's live. So when we're detonating malware, we're going through this stuff, I'm right there with them. Several days during the course, I split the class up into actual SOC teams, team 1 and team 2. And I throw audibles. I say, hey, the CISO just walked in. He got some threat intel from his Twitter feed. He wants somebody on the team to validate it. And he's walking into a sit rep meeting with the board right now, and he needs it in 20 minutes. We're throwing real world scenarios like that at our students. So it's an amazing experience. I learn as much teaching the workshop as the students do. I mean, they throw audibles at me. They throw challenges at me, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Didn't think of that. But that's what happens in a SOC, right? You're right there with your teammates, and you're doing those sanity checks, and you're saying, hey, do you see the same thing I see? And we try to give them that real world experience. So if you want to know more about it, feel free to reach out to me at the E is for Extra on Twitter, Cover 6 Solutions on Twitter, as well as cover6solutions.com.
Who runs the Cover 6 Solutions social media now? The Twitter handle.
Oh, that's gonna be Alex, my boy Alex. Alex runs everything.
Okay, I'll talk to Alex. That's why I wasn't sure if it was him or not.
Alex Concord is he is the man behind the machine. Him and Jay Lamore, I want to give a shout out to them. They keep it running. I get up and I teach and I talk about security stuff, but they make it on time. They make sure things work. They make sure the students have what they need. They make sure labs are working. They're so important to our operation, and they're always in the background. But when I'm up teaching, they're watching the chat box, they're watching the question box. Students say, hey, I don't have access to this. If students can't get to their Splunk install that you get, and by the way, you get access to a Splunk lab as a student for Cover 6. Just want to throw that out there, but they make sure they get the access. So I saw Jermaine Wilson. So right now the training is $399, and like I said, that gets you the workshop. It also gets you access to our Splunk lab. It gets you access to our private Try-Hack Me room, so you get to do those labs. And it gets you access to tons of resources. You also get access to our Discord, where you can interact with me. And yes, you can DM me if you're working in a SOC. Several of my students work in SOCs, and they say, hey, I'm seeing this. As a matter of fact, one of my students, and I won't say his name because he haven't given me permission to, but I do want to give him a shout out. He broke log4j for me at 6 that morning.
Nice.
And he was like, hey, because he works in a around the sun stock. So he saw it that night, and he started sending me the intel. So it's a community, the Cover 6 community, and the students and even Tyrone is still very active in it. He's not one of those people who's just like, oh, I got CEO stuff to do. No, he's super active. He still asks questions. And don't get it twisted, the guy's got chops. So when it's time for a CTF, or he still gets busy. So definitely check it out. I couldn't have dreamed to be working with a mentor like Tyrone. First of all, finding a mentor like Tyrone, and Steph commented on this earlier, and I'll get into this a little bit when I talk about the self-taught curriculum. I started in computers before any of this stuff had a name or a job title, right? I worked at a public library when I was 16 years old as a computer assistant. That was my job title. And also I was basically a junior librarian who knew stuff about computers. I went maybe 10 years in my career, and I didn't have a mentor that looked like me, or who understood where I was coming from culturally, or who understood anything about me, or the language that I use. And if I'm being honest, and I know I can on your show, not only was it hard to find mentors who looked like me, it was hard to find anybody who would work with people who look like me, because
let me just time out that, just to give reference, because I know a lot of people look at, age as a reason. Like if you go back to like the 70s and 80s and 60s, like, oh, it's because of the timeline. Let us know, how old are you? So when you turned 16, about what year was that? And it's only because I want people to realize this isn't just 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s. This is more current than what people realize that this is
No,
happening.
I'm 32.
So you're even younger than me. And to see that happen, like it
it's
still
very much happening.
Eric, when I started in the 80s, there was nobody that looked like this. Okay, I was the only Hispanic in the room for a long time. So I feel you entirely.
And it was hard to get into that room
Yeah.
in the first place. It was hard to get in that room.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for me, it was very much, just a kid growing up in Memphis in the parts that people are afraid of. You know what I mean? I worked in high school. Like I said, I worked as a computer lab assistant, learned how to write HTML just like every other millennial, so that I could design my MySpace page. And then, I go to college and I need money, right? Because I'm in college. And I was trying to get help desk jobs, and I was better than these guys. And that's not a knock to them, but it's like, when you go to a computer repair shop, that was the time when there were still retail computer repair shops. But back then, it was mostly just removing viruses that people had installed on their computer from LimeWire and stuff like that, right? I knew how to do all that stuff, and I knew computers, but it was just like, you walk into anywhere at the time of Staples, and you guys are going to get a trip out of this. There was Staples, there was Radio Shack, and there was Circuit City.
I worked in Circuit City. I was a fire dog tech. I done
so you'd go to those places, and here's this kid student at a HBCU. I'm walking in, and I'm dressed like where I came from, because that's how I dress, right? And I'm talking the way I talk just because that's how I speak. And it's like they're looking at me like, there's no way you know anything about computers. There's no way you know anything about the software and things like that. And so that's actually one of the things that started me on my self-taught journey. I was like, shit, nobody's gonna teach me this stuff. Nobody's gonna teach me this stuff. So over my career, I've broken an embarrassingly large amount of things because I had to learn on my own. But to bring it back to the point I was making, when I met Tyrone, seeing this black man who was military, my dad was a Marine, and just being able to talk to him and say, hey, I just want somebody to teach me this stuff. And he's like, hey, I got this course, if you're willing to sort of help and TA, you can sit in on the lessons, and even just, I could hit him up and say, hey, I'm having trouble on my Security Plus with cryptography, right? Like, I don't get it. And he's just there. And you guys know Tyrone, nicest guy you've ever met.
Dude, he keeps me grounded. Keeps me
He
grounded.
could be extremely busy, and he'll sit there and explain a concept to you, right? If he has to draw the concept out on a napkin, he'll do it so you can get it, right?
He's too much of a big shot for me.
He's too much of a big shot. He's famous now. I don't even know. I could be talking about Tyrone like, back in the day.
I just tweeted at him and I said, "You better get into this stream because I'm not going to be kind."
No, but
yeah,
to get to your point, he's a very grounded individual, and he is very much with what Stephanie is doing. Stephanie right now is doing what Tyrone did for Cover 6 Solutions, and I believe it was DC Cyber. I want to say it was the group
DC CyberWarriors.
There it is, yeah.
DC CyberWarriors.
So with what Stephanie is doing for her location, what Tyrone did for his, and seeing that and seeing those people, again, it comes down to representation, and it comes down to being able to see people. Because let's be honest, Eric, if you would have seen me coming up, you would have been like, I'm gonna try to talk to him, but I don't know, because I've been turned down so many times, and nobody wants to talk to me now.
There's no way
exactly whether or not that would have happened, I'll tell you right now it wouldn't have happened. But I know that's, again, perception is reality. If you don't have someone to talk to that can explain their journey to you from where they came from, it makes it very difficult. Because
and even in any other way, right? When you look at it, because of things like biased, right, and just because of how people are taught to view people. I mean, if you see this kid who you're sure grew up on, another part of town from you, and would, the question becomes, and I know you would have, right? But the question becomes, would somebody like you even talk to me? Or would you, maybe you would have crossed the street. I'm not going to let that guy look at my laptop because, that played a part into it, right? I would go to the University of Memphis, and this is not a knock to them. Go Tigers. The University of Memphis had a computer club for high school students. And I remember telling them what high school I went to, and they were just like, no. And I'm sure that lady isn't there anymore, but I don't want to say. But she's just like, oh, we don't really take from that high school.
So I'm going to give you a story real quick, very quickly. When I first got to the United States, or the mainland, as we call it, from Puerto Rico, I got asked 3 questions by very smart people in college. Where did you buy your clothes? I said, I brought them from Puerto Rico. And they said, do you have stores there? And then I got asked, another question. I got asked, what was it? Oh, yeah, I love Puerto Rico. What interstate do I take to get there?
Look, the lack of knowledge and the lack of geography with people in this country blows my mind.
And by the way, this is a very prestigious university in Massachusetts.
Oh my God! So hold up. Was it an instructor or a student that asked you this question?
Students.
I don't want to give them leeway, but I'm gonna give them a little bit of leeway, because if it had been an instructor, it'd have been about 10 times worse. But regardless, look. So it's bad all around. Anyway, there's so many ways you can skin a cat, and it's all about training. It's all about trying to break in, trying to, break the glass ceiling, trying to find your way in this world and make a career, out of something you love, out of something you're very, very extremely passionate about. So, Eric, we had some jokes go on in the YouTube chat about Jermaine was like, $3.99. Are you serious? Like, is that supposed to be on a budget? Jokingly, because he was like, where's the 5K training? Like, it's supposed to be $5,000. So when we're looking at this, Stephanie, you pointed out you do workshops. Do those workshops cost people anything?
No, it's free.
Eric, your training, which offers, a Splunk license, basically, to access
for
that
life.
lab.
For life.
Yeah. So $3.99, correct?
$3.99.
$3.99. Okay, so you can get real life IOC training as within Splunk for $3.99. You can go to workshops in the DC, and actually conferences now coming around the United States and hopefully further if we can grow this
Right.
for free, other than the license, the ticket to go to the conference itself. But the workshop would be free. I don't think offensive security offers a free workshop at any conference that they go to. I don't think any of these other organizations offer free workshops. And I could be wrong, by all means. If you offer a free workshop, please let me know. I will advertise the shit out of that. But SecCon 202 brings in the speakers and brings in the training for free at all these conferences that you're paying big bucks to go to. So to see that and to know that, and me as someone who has guest taught for Cover 6 Solutions and knows what they bring to the table, I full-heartedly support everything that they do, because if you're looking at budget learning, one paycheck could get you training at Cover 6 Solutions versus the 2, 3, 4, 5 that it'll take to save up to go to a lot of these other boot camps, or the loans that you'll have to take out to go to these other boot camps and trainings.
Absolutely.
So there's other organizations out there like that. But Stephanie, from your point of view, from the things that you've seen, excuse me, what training beyond what SecCon 202 does, what training would you do, or how would you go about breaking into cybersecurity right now if you were on a budget?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So if I could do it all over again, I would have just done Cover 6 Solution. I'm not saying this because I know Ty, but because I've seen those boot camps down here. And one of the big, besides the price point, it's like, what do you leave with? That's why at my group, I make sure that you leave with something tangible that you can grow. It's like a seed, right? So you come to the workshop, you get a seed, and then it grows, and you can grow your skills with it, like a plant. But I done one or a few of Cover 6 Solutions, and I actually left with, something that was real world examples, which is a lot of problems with some of the other places you go to. It's like all by the book, but this cyber world's not by the book. You know what I mean? So you leave with an understanding real world examples so that when you go to the job, you're more prepared. You're not blindsided, But the other point I want to make to Eric, when he was talking about it was hard to get in and everything, I can tell you at some of my previous jobs, one of the issues that I found is some of this being a woman, I think, in a white male dominated field, was anytime like somebody would try to outcode me, or basically I submit my code and they'll be like, well, I found another way, this way's better, so they didn't use my stuff. I was like, okay, fine, I'm the lowest one on the totem pole, so I was like, okay, I have to deal with some things. Or when there was a dispute about a tool set that we were using or how we should be doing something, I know it's like men will get each other's back. I'm like, we are talking about 5 lines of code, or we're talking about whether or not we're going to use this test suite or not. Why do you need support? Because I disagree with you. You know what I mean? So I had to deal with a lot of just men, gaining up on me in the office. I was like, over using one test suite over another. You know what I'm trying to say? So that comes with the territory, as well. I mean, I've had some really good working environments and some, really good times. And then also men, like I can tell, not to be, too generous this evening, but,
Hey, and don't talk down about me, Stephanie. I got you.
And then the next, 5 minutes later, you guys will be perfectly fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all butt heads with a woman, and it's like it stays with you guys for a moment, whatever. But like the woman, keep it to the next morning, So I had to learn,
they keep that for 10 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I can't hold it. It's like I know that when I get in an argument, we're just gonna go at it for a second, and then the dust is settled. And so I got into that rhythm. I was like, okay, if I have anything to say, wait till the argument comes, handle my business, and then move on. You know what I'm saying? And then I learned, and I had more staying power, doing well at work and stuff. But a lot of women don't know that. You know what I mean? It's like after you said your piece, let it go. They've let it go, and they let it go, and so everybody's moved on. And that's what I also try to encourage, women in cyber. I have met very few women on the job that code. I've always been like either the only woman, or if there was another woman, she was like in HR or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but oh no, there was one other woman coder with me. But that was it. Like, it's usually just me and a group of men, you know? So I have one story. I'm always so nervous because, like, you know, sometimes like coding or whatever, or something go down, you have to call, you know, your colleague. But like me as a woman calling my male colleagues, you know what I mean? Like, they got wives and stuff. It's like, I'm not trying, you know, but we got to get this work thing handled, you know? So I also have that element, you know, to think about. And so it's a little bit different over here, but I've enjoyed the road. I feel like if I had definitely had somebody like Ty or anybody else a little bit sooner in my career, I could have been further. You know what I mean? I could have been further and maybe dodge a few bullets, you know, here and there. But I look at where I am and the lessons I learned, and I just think it's valuable. You know, like I can save and tell somebody else so that they don't have to go through it. You know, but it makes you who you are. You know.
Yeah, your battles you fight,
100%.
your obstacles you overcome, always make you who you are, and it's one of those things that help you build strength and character. And a lot of people don't like to see that. A lot of people think, oh, this negativity, oh, this obstacle in front of me. Whether it's look, let's be honest, whether it's racism, sexism, ageism, or whatever, whether or not it's acceptable, which it's always not acceptable. But the fact is, when you can find your way past that, when you can find your way to be like, you know what? Screw you. I'm gonna go here or I'm gonna go here, and just be like, you know what? They're done. You've dealt with that. You know it exists. You know it's there. But I'm better than that. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna show people what I'm worth because I'm valuable. I belong,
And
and
to
I
that
belong
point,
here.
and to that point, you clear a path, right? Like
Yep.
you think about like you know, without people like Ty, and I talk about Ty for me personally, right? I know
I
you've
talk
said his
about
name a lot,
Keytron and Ty, man. Both them
but you
dudes.
know, without Keytron, without Ty, without Marcus, I mean, we
Oh,
you know,
God, we can go through a slew of people right now.
I don't know
Kalila
why he
Scott.
doesn't have a biography yet, but anyway, but without people like that, right? They clear a path. You know what I mean? You get somebody like Marcus, and now people are looking at black men who enter tech differently, right? When you get somebody like him on stage, right? So they clear this path, right? And sometimes we have to be the ones that clear the path, right? And that's kind of what I do for my students. It's like, look, hey, I see you couldn't afford college. I had to leave college because I couldn't afford it. Right. So I see you couldn't afford that, you know, that comm sci degree because there were no cybersecurity degrees at the time, but you couldn't afford that comm sci degree, right? Or you can't afford you know, $8,000 training from an organization who I won't name. But you can't afford that stuff. Their name may or may not rhyme with man's, but you can't afford that kind of you can't afford that kind of stop it, Eric. I see you over there. You stop it. You know, you can't afford a freaking entry level certification that costs $7,000, right? So you can't afford that, and so for me, I'm like, I see you. I know what it means to be you know, a scholarship student to YouTube University, right? I know what it feels like to build your career on Professor Messer videos, and you know what I mean. I know what that's like, right? And so for me, it was really important, which is why I'm always putting out content on Twitter just for free. I'm putting out thoughts. I learned something, I try to put it into like neat little lists and share that stuff because I was there, right? Having to learn this stuff from literally anywhere I could. You know,
Definitely.
Well, let me add something. So right now, let me hit you with some numbers here. Roughly about I think it was September of last year, there was one of these studies that was done for people in cybersecurity and the diversity in cybersecurity. And as of the end of last year, only 9% of the cybersecurity workforce in the government was black. You want to guess how much it was Hispanic?
I can't even guess the number. Probably lower than that. Yeah.
Oh, 4.
I was
close. 4. Okay.
4%. So a lot of the stuff that you were talking, and both of you were talking, you know, that trend setting and that opening the path and going through, we're following you guys very closely behind here. That's one of the reasons that I started Rise as Cyber, the Hispanic Association of Cybersecurity, to bring more people into cyber. So similar to what you're doing with SecCon, and similar what Ty and by the way, I don't know if you knew this, Eric, but Cover Six Solutions is a partner organization to Rises. So
I didn't. I got to get more on the outreach side. Ty's like, go in there and write a curriculum, close the door, and don't come out. He's not like that.
So
Ty's a
long
workhorse.
story.
You know what, Eric? You're not allowed to do nothing. Get out of here.
No. You know what the thing is though? He's not even like bossy about it. It's just, it's crazy because he expects you to keep up with him, and you're like, are you out of your mind? That's the part, right? It's like this guy will like get up at 4 a.m, go run 6 miles, like, do a full pen test, write curriculum, go teach, write social media posts, write a blog post, do 2 podcasts. And then when you're like, oh yeah, I worked on curriculum for 4 hours, he's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, wait, what, you're not impressed? He's like, I mean, I did this. And you're just like, dude, I can't. He's a freaking cyborg. And like I said, he's not like working you to the bone, but it's just like, dude, I can't keep up with him. Like, I don't know how he does it. And I don't know how the only thing that's off his plate now is the workshop, right? So he's still doing everything else. And I don't even know how he's doing that. Right. So guys insane.
Yeah,
you're absolutely.
He's definitely a workhorse. I've called him. He's grounded me. Look, I don't know if anybody saw. I put out a post when we talk about training on a budget, and so I am a student of Infosec Institute. I didn't pay for the boot camps.
Love Keytron.
That was Keytron. Keytron was my CEH instructor, and the CPT from IACRB. So before the CompTIA came out with their Pen Test Plus and all these other ones, IACRB had a pen testing cert, and so he was my instructor for that. I posted a video about his earlier because of the fact that this man took Nmap, something that is a tool that everybody uses, and broke it down and explained it in such a way for discovery scans. And he has a whole slew of videos out for it now. But just the discovery scans alone and the importance of documentation and outputting to file format and why you do these file formats. And look, when I talk about mentors, I would not be where I'm at in my career had he not been my instructor, had he not been there for me. Because to this day, I reach out to him and I'm like, hey, Keytron, look, dude, I'm struggling, or I need advice on this. And I've done the same thing to Ty. I've done it. These gentlemen, I've done the same thing. Hell, Alyssa Miller. You want to talk about someone who also?
Oh, I just did a podcast with Alyssa. She's amazing.
Oh my God! Like, these people just have broken through and found a way to help others. Kalila, the TechSec chicks, like, they have found a way.
I was on with Kalila the other night. There's a theme here, right? And it's like, it's unfortunate that so many of us who are trying to help other people, like, it's unfortunate sometimes we just kind of end up helping each other, right? Because we're so outnumbered, right? It's like we're so outnumbered. Like we were talking earlier, it's like tons of us have been interacting with each other on Twitter for years because there's almost this like subspace of cybersecurity Twitter of people who, like, we're not mean to people. We're not turning people away, right?
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and you guys can tell me if you see this. There are too many people who are trying to inflate the validity of cybersecurity by keeping people out.
The gatekeepers.
I didn't want to use that term because I didn't want to use that, but it's like,
well, it's an industry term now, man.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so many people out there, and one of the worst things is the Facebook groups. I've been in some Facebook groups. Somebody goes in there and asks something like, "What is this?" And it's a basic question. I get it, but they're learning, and somebody will actually say, "If you don't know that, you have no business being here."
Makes
and
no
it's like,
sense.
Whoa.
I mean, but no, this happens every 3 or 4 posts. This is not just
I hate that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. My biggest problem is, look, a lot of these groups, especially if you put cybersecurity or hacking or something in these groups, inevitably you get the people teach me how to hack, or you get the hey, can you hack this person's account? It's going to happen. The problem
Yeah.
is, and there's a group I'm in now that there was a post that came up that was just like, look, like we get the same shitty posts every day of how do I hack computers, or teach me how to hack, or can you break into a person's account? Where's the education? Where's the knowledge? It's an admin account. Like, you have to approve posts. Somebody has to approve these posts before they're allowed in. I posted two things. One was, I want content for videos. What do you want to know about? I'll make a video on it and get it out there. The other one was my installing Kali to WSL2. At least one of those so far, I have not seen an approval for the other one. One of the two, because Facebook is stupid and doesn't show me which one it was declined. And I'm like, but these are valid posts. Both provide information and want to get information from the community. And you're declining this, but if somebody puts up, teach me how to hack, you're gonna allow that one.
Right.
Cool,
No,
makes sense.
it's ridiculous, man. And for me, it's like I had a person who's in the cybersecurity space, who I do teach, right, and I get paid to teach, but I put out a lot of stuff for free, and one of them I'll talk about, here when we get some time. I had a person tell me, "Oh, you should charge for this,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, "You're missing the entire point."
Mm-hmm.
You're missing the entire point. Like there should not be there should be checkpoints and benchmarks of progression and learning that a person starting off should have to do to prove to the community that's serious about growing. There absolutely should be, right? Because I'm not going to continue to spend my time to teach you if you're not learning and growing, right? So there should 100% be checkpoints. But the money and a paywall should never be an obstacle to an industry that constantly boasts you don't have to have a degree. Well, if I have
or that we're 500,000 people that we don't have that we have openings for that big across the world, so okay, fine. Somebody I think it was Jermaine that said in the chats that the hiring managers also have to change. Okay,
Yes.
because and I've boasted this in every speech that I've done, is we currently have a finite number of people that are seniors, and then we have a lot of people that are coming in, but these hiring managers in the middle are looking for the purple unicorns. They want somebody with 15 years experience in a technology that has 5 years in existence.
Yeah.
I know, right?
So
my
I want to.
my best was the guy that developed one of the scripting languages out there. I forget which one it was, but it had only been around for
I remember that. Yeah.
like 5 or 6 years. And they're like, you need 15 years experience in this language. He was like, I
wrote it.
developed that language. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Well, I think that what changed though in our industry was, back in the day, whatever, it wasn't as glamorized as it is now. I think when those apps came out and people realized how much money they can make on an app, making it or just selling on it, then that I think really changed us from being this more of a handcrafted, rugged industry into something that would look sexy. Oh, we can make a lot of money, or entrepreneurship is sexy now. Like all that stuff. And so then the cert game came, which you have to be careful about. I mean, some certs are good, I think, from certain organizations, and some I just think, well, what's the point of this? Our field changes so often that I just can't justify paying over $1,000 for anything.
Well, let me tell you.
All right, Eric Thomas had something he's been trying to say. So Eric Bellardo, EB, before we get to you, Eric Thomas, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to comment on what EB was saying, and it looks like El Cartman said exactly what I was about to say. So as somebody who who kind of sees the other side of it, right, who works on an ops team, the unfortunate part of that, right, is that you put an entry-level job out there, and HR people, and I'm not attacking them, right? But the HR people are that initial thing. There are tons of people who, if I saw a resume and I talked to them, right, I would say, oh, I want you on my team. Like, let me get you over to our SecOps manager immediately, right? That will, unfortunately, we'll never see, because the way these applicant tracking system works, here's what these HR people do. And I actually talk about this in my course because I don't like for people to get discouraged. They have an applicant tracking system. They call it data, but it's actually just like whichever industry certifications are popping to the top of these are the top 10 certifications you should get this year list. They take those, right? And then they make them a part of the job description, or they take all of this just sort of, it's almost made up, right? Like I asked somebody the other day, at what point did we just decide that arbitrarily 3 to 5 years was the number? Like it can't be the number for every job. So I'll give you an example, right? Somebody say, you go to an HR person, you say, oh, I got an entry-level job. They're going to tell you 3 to 5 years, right? And it's going to go, okay, so you're telling me 3 to 5 years is automatically entry-level. They go, yep. I say, all right, so would you let a heart surgeon, right, who's been doing heart surgery consistently well, no patients dying on the table, none of that, consistently well, has gone through all this schooling, gone through fellowship, gone through residency, gone through all this, but he's only been a heart surgeon for, let's say, 2 years. Would you dare call that man entry-level doctor? Like, there has to be some sort of specificity around this.
I love that you brought that up.
We can't, are we just making these numbers up? Like where are these numbers coming from? Like, if a person has been doing something for 3 years, there are certain things that if a person has been doing for 3 years, damn it, they're an expert. There are other things.
Hey, don't say expert. I hate that term.
Or
at least in our field, I hate that term in our field because it changes.
They're as proficient as one should be to do the job, right?
Yes.
So you know what I mean? But then there are other fields where honestly 3 years isn't enough. So you take somebody who says, hey, I want to design, I want to be an architect. I want to completely design the technical controls and how they interact with the business. Well, no, you got to do a little bit more than 3 years for that. But if you want to come work on my SOC team, I'll take you with one. I'll take you if you know the difference between a threat, a vulnerability, and risk.
Yes.
I'll take you if you can understand the language I'm using.
Yes.
And because that's it. That's all you need.
Exactly. And EB, Eric, Bellardo, you had something else you wanted to add before I let you.
I just want to say amen, brother, because I've been a hiring manager for 20 years, and I've seen this in action in security. And, depends on the position. If people don't, first of all, we have a really big PR problem in cybersecurity. You don't learn cybersecurity. You learn a specific area of cybersecurity. There's over 50 jobs in cybersecurity. It's like saying, and I say this all the time, it's like saying, I want to learn healthcare. No, you're going to be a doctor, a nurse,
I use this all the time.
Okay,
all the time.
You're going to be an X-ray tech, whatever it is, EMT. There's different paths. Okay, and I've got a video on my YouTube channel that says cybersecurity is not a job. Okay, go watch it, people. Okay,
don't do it now. Do it after.
Don't do it.
Yeah,
now.
wait till later. It's a field. It's a field. You don't want to say I want to be in education. Well, it's like what? What do you want to be a teacher? You want to be a principal? You want to be an admin?
So that's number one. Number two, about the jobs. Okay. We also, because of that, we have a very big problem with job descriptions. One of the things that I normally don't use the word hate very often, but it applies here, is when they say entry-level CISSP, because they heard it somewhere. Okay? Because they heard it somewhere. Okay? Listen, guys, we're talking in this show about learning on a budget. Okay? A lot of times, getting into the field of cybersecurity, first of all, look at what all the jobs are. And then after you look at that, think, what are the things that interest me? I always tell people when I mentor them, I say, what interests you about getting into this field? What are your skills? What do you like to do? And then say, look, one is, the easy, I'll say, based on 32 years experience, the easiest path into cybersecurity is always a security analyst, a SOC analyst. Okay. And it's for many reasons. It's number one, it's where you learn. And number two, it's you're learning how we defend a network, how you monitor a network, how you understand the things before you go into the sexy field of red teaming, pen testing, and all that other stuff. Okay? You got to learn how to defend and how we look at stuff before you learn how to attack things. Okay? Because now you know, oh, wait, these guys are looking at a log, or they're looking at this log, or they're looking at
But
these memory areas and stuff. So hold on, before you start.
I'm
Okay.
waiting. I'm waiting.
Okay. So that's very important. And then learning as a team, learning as a group, things like what Stephanie is doing with our group. It's the best way of learning because you have accountability. You have people that are helping you, people that are supporting you. And get me off my soapbox.
Yeah,
So,
no, you're absolutely right though. You're absolutely right.
are. You're spot on. Jermaine put down below. I decided to take a step back and look at the field. My goodness, it is endless. Containers, CI/CD, Kubernetes. That's just one sector, right? And they're all different jobs. They're all different things you can do within the field because these all fall into security. All of them. You can do security for any of these. Get out of here, Eric. Get out. So
CICD, that's more in the coding stuff,
so
No, 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 no,
it's
no.
still security.
SDLC.
CI/CD
No,
pipeline.
wait. Secure CICD, not just
Oh,
the
okay.
CICD.
All
Don't
right,
get me
now we're
started
getting-
on that one.
But
SDLC versus SSDLC.
so I love what you said about doctors though, because I relate cybersecurity, and when people talk salaries and things like that, I always relate cybersecurity to being a doctor. So doctors, the profession's always changing. There's always new technologies. There's always new things that come out. So you have to go to conferences. You have to keep up to date. And I do this only because, yes, I was a fan of Scrubs for a long time. And you see how technology changed, but an older doctor came in that didn't keep up with the field, and it caused a lot of problems on that episode. Here in cybersecurity, if you don't keep up, you're behind the eight ball. You're
Stephanie,
behind.
what was the first language you learned?
First language I
Python.
learned was Java. Then I learned JavaScript. Java is actually what I fell in love with in the very beginning, but then I got away from it because I was doing web and other things.
I started in Fortran 77 in Pascal. Okay, programming and punch cards in assembly. Okay, if I didn't keep on learning, I would have been without a job in 1989. Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make here is, as technology advances, everybody, it doesn't matter if you've got a gray beard like mine or a great beard like Eric here, okay? You have to keep on learning, keep
All the
on,
time.
it doesn't matter, in this field, you have to keep on learning.
And so
All the time.
Daniel put up a great comment here. Doctors aren't expected to study at home on the free time.
But they do.
I was
Exactly.
gonna say they absolutely do. They're not so they do.
Especially
so
ones that work in diagnostic medicine, I think it's called. I could be wrong on my terminology.
Listen, I've got doctors in my family. My son's a doctor. They have journals that they read every month, just like we read our blogs and all the different stuff. We attend conferences, we attend meetups. They do the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's very important.
So I think and I do want to touch on this because I know we'll be getting to the end here soon. I think I always want to leave everybody with something, so I'm gonna put my teacher hat on right now.
Actually, yeah. So as we are coming,
hold on.
You're right. So Eric,
No, hold on.
Thomas. All right, what are you
Hold
doing?
on.
There we go.
All right, the floor is yours, sir.
ET, the floor is
Gotcha.
yours. What are your final thoughts?
Real quick, I just want to say for anybody who's listening, who's self-taught, who for whatever reason didn't have the resources or the time to go to college, or who's having to learn at home, because unfortunately a lot of the stuff that me and Stephanie had a chance to go to when we were coming up in person. I tell my students this story all the time. It's really quick. One of the ways I started networking was I would always volunteer to sit at the check-in desk at conference, because you see everybody. You hand them their lanyard, and you hand them your business card and say, "Hey, here's your lanyard. And by the way, I'm Eric, and I'm trying to learn." I see that you all don't have that. So hopefully you'll be able to check the show notes. I'm pointing to them like I'm on a YouTube video.
You will be.
But
the description's down below.
If the link's there, I have what I call my self-study SOC analyst curriculum for any blue teamers out there. And this curriculum is actually awesome. Fun fact about this: one of my students challenged me and said, "Hey, if you only had $100, like $100, and you had 6 to 8 months to get ready, for a SOC job, how would you do it?" And so I put together this curriculum, and I'll just give you some, and you can find this. The link's also on my Twitter bio, but I'll just give you some curriculum. There's a Learn TCP/IP in 24 hours, which proven resource. You can get it for $17. Practical packet analysis, you can get it used for $10. Try Hack Me is $10 a month. You can do their Intro to Networking Services 2, Wireshark 101, and their malware traffic analysis exercise. Then you can move on to Windows fundamentals. There is the Windows DFIR cheat sheet. That's a really, really good one. Windows Security Log Revealed, free website. You can literally read chapter after chapter for free. The Sysmon documentation, really, really good one. And again, Try Hack Me is good. So they have several rooms on Windows. And then there's the Linux Basic for Hackers, which is one of my favorite books. It costs $19. The Linux Command Line, second edition, costs $19. What else we got here? Oh, one of my favorite, email phishing analysis, costs $0 to learn and analyze phishing emails. It just literally doesn't cost any money. Go to Gmail, go crazy, or sign up for Cover 6 Solution SOC Analyst Prep, taught by the great Eric Thomas. And then finally, you have the HTTP Pocket reference for $9. You can do this, and I just want to say, don't give up. There are a lot of free resources out there. It's really, really tough. But check out that self-study curriculum. If you have any questions about Blue Team, I gotta shout this one out. This book right here.
Yes, BTFM, Blue Team Field Manager.
Blue Team Field Manual. It is an invaluable resource, and I want to say it's like $12. But keep learning. Reach out to me. Reach out to, I'm sure, everybody here in our network. We will find somebody to get you the resources that you need, because they, over on this blue team, aka the true team, we want you to be good. We want you to be good. We want you to be thorough. We want you to be confident when you do your job. Confidence is one of the things we don't talk about on the blue team enough, right? When you're delivering these reports to CISOs and you say, "Hey, I know this is A because I saw this TTP, and this is a sign of lateral movement," you got to be confident going in with those reports. And we want you to do that. And quite frankly, I want the world to be full of great blue teamers. It is a team sport, and we are a community. And look us up, Cover 6 Solutions. We got your back. So that's my final thought. But check out the curriculum. If you have any questions, let me know.
All right. And Stephanie, go ahead and hit us with your knowledge.
Yeah, no, that was good. I think that's what the workshops at SecCom 202 are all about, is that you leave confident that you know what you're doing. You're not just studying for the correct answers on the test. You're studying for, to be good and lethal, so to speak, out on the field. And that's and a good team player also, and that's very important to the group and to, myself teaching others how to use various tools and whatnot, is that you feel confident that you're not second guessing yourself. You know what I mean? You got an excellent command of the language or of the theory and, how to configure and all that other stuff. So I definitely agree with everything Eric said, and Eric said the best, actually. It's just about, confident, you know, and really fighting that imposter syndrome. You are meant to be there. There's always going to be something that you don't know, you know, and it's just exciting, you know, enjoy it, enjoy the ride, you know, don't be so hard on yourself if you didn't get something, or if you didn't know about a tool, or if you feel behind. First of all, definitely read a lot. There's plenty of YouTube videos. I know that Cyber Warrior, you guys do Tech Tuesdays. A lot of people in our field do Tech Tuesdays or Tech Thursdays, whatever. Try to follow along with that. You know, you may not be able to get to the end, but along the journey as you're building whatever it is the person's building, you gain knowledge, you know. So I just think that's just the best bet. And always reach out. That's one of the things I wish I would did. You'll be surprised, just because they're up there giving a DEF CON talk, you know, doesn't mean that, you know, definitely just engage with them. They're approachable people. And I'm just really glad that I did, because a lot of people that did DEF CON talks or any type of talk, they really changed me and set me on a better course.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. Definitely.
And you know, and one of the things that, to follow up what you just said, is a lot of the people that are doing DEF CON talks right now, or B-sides talks or anything like that, they all started in the same place. We all started somewhere, and we remember the journey. So, you know, the best thing for you as a person learning, you know, follow what Eric said. I put the link to his link tree there. He's got a Notion board that he has on that link tree that is absolutely wonderful. So follow that, follow Stephanie, follow a lot of folks, and you don't have to go and do, you know, A plus, Net plus, Sec plus, you know, SANS, you know, all these different things. You don't have to do that to go and find your first job. A lot of folks, a lot of organizations, a lot of Discords out there that are going to help you and support you. And the best thing that I can tell anybody as we wrap this up is find your tribe. Find
Plug
your
in, baby.
tribe.
Plug in.
Into somebody. You know, Eric's always saying, lo-fi beats, let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, and
Let's
you know,
go.
study groups, let's go ahead and study. You know, find your tribe, network, because that's the people that are going to carry you along, you know, on the ride. I still, you know, what was it, yesterday or the day before, we did a webinar, and us four had over 100 years in the field together. And we started out, you know, and two of the people that were there were Cult of the Dead Cow. So that's how far back
Nice.
we were. So keep with these people, keep with your tribe, talk to anybody. All of us here in the field that have been around will be able to guide you and point you to stuff. Like I said, find your tribe. Cybersecurity is a team sport. So with that, Cyber Warrior, take it away.
And stay
Yeah.
plugged into Cyber Warrior, because he has tons of great people on here. We got to give this guy his flowers. I mean, the people that he brings together, the community that he's built. You know,
The swag.
the swag. I mean, not all of us. You know, some of us, you know, are much better. You know, in the classroom or just on social media. But like what you're doing, this right here for YouTube. I mean. Can you imagine, Stephanie, and you and I probably started around the same time. Could you imagine back in 2008, 2009, if we had something like this that we could plug into? I mean,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
a game changer.
it would have been a game changer. I mean, so yeah, shout out to you, man, for doing this and just bringing people together and, you know, just dropping tons of resources that other people are putting behind a paywall. So yeah, I love it.
And I got nothing but love for you guys, and thank you for that shout out, Eric. I know you're giving the pointy face because you're doing.
What about
amazing things
my
all the time.
show? I have a show on Thursdays. I've got videos that drop. You know, God, you guys
Look,
show me no love.
I will say this. Look, so me and Eric have been working together for quite some time. If you haven't checked out Eric Bilardo Cyber, please do so. When it comes to news, I rely on him. All right. I don't do the news. I used to. I did WTF Wednesdays briefly for a short time back in, I think it was like 2020, maybe 2021. And it was one of those things it was one day a week and I didn't stick with it. But Eric is always dropping news. We always have new battlefields on Thursdays. You can always catch both of us 2 days a week. Twice a week, you got us. And twice a week, we are bringing people on air that can guide you and help you. Look, ET, what you just said brings tears in my eyes. I ain't even gonna lie, because
I
my
think it's
goal
the
is
beer. I think it's the beer.
no,
I think,
no, it's not. To be honest, it isn't even bad yet. I'll be getting there tonight, but it is truly because my goal has always been to help the community, and it has always been to show others that you can do this.
yeah.
Look, a lot of people look at me as you know, a straight white male and be like, oh well, it's easy, and it's not. It's not easy for anybody. And I get everybody has differences in where they came from and how they got here and the obstacles they faced. But one thing that we all have done, all of us have done, is found a way to learn, whether through YouTube or blogs, or you happen to be in the military and the military happens to pay for it. We have found a way to learn and grow. And that's the important thing. That's what I want everybody to get out of this show. As though your journey is different, you still can learn for free or for less money than any boot camp and any training out there. Keytron Evans, I've shouted him out several times on this episode. I shared a post from him earlier today. That man put out posts about Nmap and all this other technical stuff. Goes more in depth than I ever will, just because I don't have the time to do a full course on a lot of these materials. But he does. So if you're looking for a full course for free, go check out Keyshawn Evans. He's making big things happen on his YouTube channel.
And two
If you're
things.
looking, go ahead.
And
Abe.
two things before you go. As we are having this worldwide issue with the Ukraine and Russia, make sure that you guys are protecting yourself. Okay, the cyber activity is high right now. CISA has a program called Shields Up. Okay, make sure that you're patching your stuff, that you're aware of phishing, vishing, and smishing coming through on your phone, on your voicemails, on your phones, phones, and your email. Make sure that you are vigilant right now and patch your stuff.
Patch your
Patch
shit.
it.
I'll say it out loud. Patch your
This
shit.
this is your show, so you
I
can
have a shirt that says that. Patch your
you,
shit.
but yes, definitely, and also mis and disinformation and malinformation out there. Make sure you're not sharing things, you're not sharing troop movements, and things like that. So, just with that, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely. Practice safe cyber, as Eric always says. I do say that. Look, patch your stuff, upgrade whatever it needs to do. Your phones, your operating systems, your programs. Make sure they're all up to date. Again, you may get 10 updates in a row, just because, as we learned from Log4j, sometimes the first fix doesn't do it and they break it again. Continue to run those updates. Yes, things may break, but it happens. But look, as always, it's been an amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, ET, for being on this show,
Thank you.
learning on a budget and just conferences and everything. Eric Bellardo, you're always here. I love you, brother. Oh, you're always here. I love you. You're my co-host. Get that out of here. But look, as always, thank you guys for being here. And you can catch us next week. We're actually doing a big show next week too, with two other guests, with Fernando AR. Look, I'm gonna just call him Sergeant AR because that's how I know him. He comes to me from the Army. And then we also he brought someone else on board. We got John Oster coming in too.
Nice.
And we're talking educating the next generation in cyber and STEM, which really hits home for me as all of my boys are still in school. So thank you all for being here. Catch us next week live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and LinkedIn. I keep forgetting that one. And as always, I'll be dropping this on audio podcast, so you'll be seeing us later. Take care. Have a great evening, and I love you all.